E aí pessoal, beleza? Vinícius aqui. No vídeo passado a gente tinha parado exatamente aqui no jogo Vampyr. Por incrível que pareça, no vídeo passado eu me perdi num jogo extremamente linear. Realmente eu me perdi. Mas eu acho que a gente tinha parado exatamente aqui. Eu não tenho certeza. Foi no distrito de Whitechapel. E bora continuar nossa série, beleza? Eu não fiz vídeo de sábado e domingo porque não deu. Sábado e domingo normalmente não dá pra gravar vídeo. Mas bora continuar. Lembrando que se vocês são novos no canal, deixa nos comentários como vocês encontraram o canal, beleza? E se puder, se inscrever e ativar o sininho pra vocês não perderem nenhuma notificação. E se puder deixar o like, que me ajuda bastante. Aí o YouTube recomenda o vídeo pra outra pessoa, beleza? Mano, eu tô perdidão, mano. Mano, eu tô perdidão. É sério. Mano, eu não sei o que eu vou fazer aqui, mano. É pra cima. Taca. Parece ser pra cá. Mano, foda que, tipo, eu tô nível 7, os caras aqui é nível 17, 15, 16.
Sorry, sir, no remittance. Are you deaf?
Turn around, sir.
Ain't safe here for a gentleman.
Oi, can you hear me?
Agora fodeu. Sai, seus merda. Nossa, seu merda. Seu merdinha. Nossa.
Let's pin him down!
Ó, nível 12 o cara, mano.
We have to stop it!
Ô, maldito. Eu te matei. Sai, seu merda. Mano. Vem. Ah, não. Eu tô desviando. Ah, não, eu vou morrer, mano. Sai, maldito.
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is
Encontrei o
linked
caminho bom.
somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Deixa eu ver um negócio. Eu tenho que vir aqui, eu acho que vai dar a volta. Beleza. Deixa eu ver se eu tenho alguma coisa aqui de cura. Deixa os caras se matar, filho. Já tô sofrendo contra um maluco. Você acha que eu vou lutar contra mais?
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
You look ill, Miss Swanborough. I wonder if your concoction will do the trick.
I'm perfectly fine thanks to my miraculous elixir. You, on the other hand, look pale and tired, Doctor.
Não dá, ó.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Tônico. Frasco de vidro. Tártaro ferroso. Solução de hipoclorito de sódio. Codeína. $1.500.
Good evening, my dear colleague.
Eu não... Putz.
Goodbye, Miss
Eu
Swanborough.
só levo meu enfeitiçar é level
Perhaps
1.
we'll talk
Ela é level
again.
3. Depois tem que ver como que faz pra aumentar o
When
enfeitiçar, mano.
science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Entendi.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Deixa eu ver aonde é agora. Ah, 80 metros. Por aqui.
Please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind.
Can't you just look the other way this week, Joe? Come on, we can sort it out, right?
It's not my call, Barrett.
Depois eu sugo o sangue.
False faith, imprisoned by your daily routine, unable to see.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Ah, mano.
I
Não dá
have
pra
had enough
enfeitiçar
for
ninguém.
tonight. Goodbye.
Eu acho que eu tenho que sugar mais sangue e vai aumentando.
Would you like me to?
Ah, desculpa. Eu acho que é por aqui. Não. Ih, tem 2 pontos, mano. Putz. Tá mostrando que tá pra baixo, mano. Mano, essa região aqui ela é meio tipo... Parece meio bugada, mano. Ah, tá mostrando que é pra cima. Eu tô em cima, tá mostrando que é pra baixo.
But the punishment of a divine will.
I'm cheap and I'm
Best turn around if I were you. Get them weapons ready! We...
I ought here to step back! God, grenade! Shadows!
Ah, mano. Ah. Olha lá, tá mostrando que é pra baixo.
You are blinded by your false faith, imprisoned by your
Excuse
daily
me, sir.
routine.
Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry,
Ah, tá,
I'm
tava
new to
bugado.
Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel. talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Bora ver o que tem mais. E que é uma pista.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
That science is unable to explain the facts doesn't mean there is no rational explanation.
I confess, I share your point of view, Doctor.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
That science is unable to explain the facts doesn't mean there is no rational explanation.
I confess, I share your point of view, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Encontre a caixa de correio e a carta. Bora lá.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to
Já
enter.
foi. Deixa eu ver aqui no mapa. É... Bem... Deixa eu ver... Pra cá. Encontre os moradores de Whitechapel. Encontre o Richard Nightford. Pra cima.
It's locked, all right.
Parece ser aqui, mano.
For there is no protection against malevolence and trickery. You are blinded by your false faith, imprisoned by your daily routine.
É aqui, ó. Putz, um vampiro. Três? Ah, não. Nossa, olha o tanto de vida que eles tiram, mano. Ih, eu vou morrer. Mano. Sai, seus merda. Ah, não. Para! Ah, não. Ai, que ódio, seus merda. e você. Seu merda. Cemitério.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds very mysterious. But, sorry, no, never heard of her.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the added hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox, the stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much. And that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
Isso aqui tá meio azul.
Did you know the mute florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious camellia.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
I'll leave you alone, sir. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in.
Some of us come to this world already touched by grace. Silent flower of Whitechapel, an angel made flesh, I tell you.
Essa missão aqui vai demorar um pouquinho e já tá com 43 minutos de gravação. Eu vou fazer o seguinte: como o jogo salva automaticamente a cada final de missão, eu acho que é isso. Eu vou encerrar esse vídeo por aqui, tá? E a gente continua amanhã com... Hoje é o capítulo 4, amanhã é o capítulo 5. É, isso mesmo. Aí a gente continua amanhã, beleza? Lembrando que se vocês estão chegando agora no canal, deixa aí nos comentários o que vocês estão achando dos vídeos da série de Vampyr, como vocês encontrou o meu canal, se for através de grupo, pesquisa no YouTube, rede social, alguma coisa. E se inscrever e ativar o sininho para vocês não perderem nenhuma notificação, beleza? E se puder deixar o like no vídeo, que me ajuda bastante. Assim o YouTube recomenda meus vídeos para outras pessoas, beleza? Valeu e até a próxima.